Hi guys, this is John. So I'm going to give you a little instructional video on choosing a right tea and how to care for them. A little basic information. So in the tarantula world, there are over 900 species described. So the question to ask yourself is, what do you prefer? Do you prefer a new world, which is the Americas, Central, South, and Northern, or the old worlds, which are the European, African, Asian, and Australian species? They're both subdivided into two classes, terrestrials and arboreals. So I'm going to start off with the New Worlds first. New Worlds are basically soda fast in speed and growth rate. Some burrow, like my Nandu chromatus and my Lacidora perennibana, but they're mostly out. And you have here arboreals, which are medium to fast in growth rate and in speed. They generally build web tubing, so you generally don't see them very often, and they hate the touch of my skin. In my previous video, I handled my vicularia by a mature male. He didn't want to go on my hand because they have sensitive feet and they just don't like the skin for some reason. Okay, so New Worlds, most of them have urticating hair. So urticating hair is their main defense mechanism. To try and ward you off, they will shake hairs from the abdomen. And you kind of want to avoid those because they're pretty much sting you. So, and they cause you bad itching. So you generally want to try to avoid that. So basically their temperaments are docile to aggressive, slow to fast. So I just divide into categories. So basic beginner ones are the vicularias, like the pink toes and versicolor and purpurea. And you have the phonopelmas, the brachypelmas, like the smithy and the bomi. They're generally really bad hair kickers, but if you can afford one, that's pretty good. They're mostly expensive. And you have grammostolas, which are the pulchra, rosea, aristrata, and so forth. They're famous for their mood swings. Like I know my larger Choco was really nice and turned out to be a big bitch, so like can't handle her anymore. But this one I highly recommend, is the Eupalestris genus, which are the Camstratus, which is the pink zebra beauty, the one I have, and the Eupalestris Wegenbergi, which is the blue-collared one, white-collared tarantula. Very docile species. Then you have intermediates, which are the very skittish species. Then you have the Chromatopelma, the green bottle blue. I believe that's the only species in the genus that's available in the hobby. Then you have the Salmopoeus, which is the Reductus, Pulcher, Erminia, and Cambridgei. Then you have Acanthus scurius, which is the Brocklehursti and the Geniculatas. Lacidoras, which are the Peribana, the Cluggy, and so forth, and Difficilis. Then you have Nandu chromatus, Curprenensis, and a whole bunch of other ones. Then expert species are Theraphosas and Megaphobina. I label them as experts because they require high temperatures and high humidity requirements. This also applies to vicularis in order for them to survive properly. Okay, so then we go to old worlds. They generally have no urticating hair. They're really defensive to aggressive, very fast speeds and growth rate, and possess very strong venom. Strongest venom I have seen is from a Stromatopelma calceatum and Heteroskotch maculata. The Togosaurus baboon for the maculata, and the calceatum is the feather-like baboon. But you also take into account for the Australian species that can kill large dogs in like less than 15 minutes. So again, like the New Worlds, they're subdivided into two classes: terrestrials, which burrow, so you almost never see them, and arboreals, which are the web tubing ones, but you can see them more often than terrestrials. So these are limited to experts only. So basically, genuses include the Haplopelma, Poecilotheria, Trinachillus, Certidaris, and a whole bunch of other ones. So prices of tarantulas, they can come cheap and some don't. So slings can go for like little as $7, like for a Parabana sling. But adults, like for Rosehair and pink toes, generally go for about $15 to $25, but there are some that can exceed like $400 plus. So these are like female brachypelmas, adults, because they live up to 30 years. And you have Pocothera metallica, the Goody Sapphire, which right away it's like $200 for an inch sling. And you have Monocentropa spelfulri, which is the blue-legged baboon, which easily goes for $500. So, typical arboreal setup. This is my mature male Vicularia sage. He's a pretty small guy, so I just put him in a critter keeper. And for arboreals, height is more important than floor space. So I provided a little wood bark, so he likes to climb and stuff. So he built webs here. But you can also set up arboreal cages like this. This is my Versacolor cage, which is a 5-gallon tank flipped on its side with a plexiglass to prevent the substrate from caving in. So this also applies to old world arboreals too. And you have like new world setups. This is my Bomies and my Seraphosa blondies cage. Always provide a water dish. It's a must. And for terrestrials, floor space is more important than height. And always provide a cave so that the spider feels secure, so it won't feel as aggressive. So I put for here Seraphosa blondie. I put a little towel over it so that keeps the humidity in. And I'll show you. Very big spider. One of the largest of the genus. One of the largest species in the world. So I'll show you typical old world species. This is my cobalt blue, Hapopelma lividum, and these are pet holes because terrestrials, they like to burrow. Here's its burrow, and here's the blue. This is a mature female, really aggressive temperament. Not a tarantula to piss off, and always provide a water dish, and spray the tank at least once a week. Whoa, wait. Twice a week. Yeah, you're bad. Okay, slings could go in like little cages like this. This is my Somopos Erminia sling. And even smaller spiders can live in a little toll jar. So basically when you change a tarantula enclosure is when the lifespan is about half the size of the enclosure. So probably next molt she's going to be moving out of this one. Okay, so feeding I would recommend 2 or 3 crickets once a week, or once every 2 weeks. That's pretty sufficient. I don't give it mice. You can give it mealworms too. Mice is never a good idea. It's okay to do it maybe once a month, but not every feeding, because the tarantula is an invert, so it cannot take calcium. So this is like acts as a poison to it. So it causes bad molting problem and possible fang damage. So tarantulas can shed their skin by flipping on its back and literally pulling itself out, like that. So this is my Brachypelma smithii skin. And tarantulas, you can tell when they're pre-molt is that when their abdomen becomes all black and they stop eating. And I'll show you my Megaphidemia robustum. That's the one that had 6 legs in my Tarantula Tour Part 4 video. And as you can see, they regenerate legs. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really interesting. This is an expert one because of the high temperature and humidity requirements. So, I hope you enjoy the video. Take care.